Welcome, everyone. This is Jeannie Alter, the Executive Director of the American School Health Association, and I want to welcome you all and thank you for being with us this afternoon to hear about Shatter the Myths during National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. We will be hearing from Brian Marquis, a Public Liaison Officer at the National Institute of Drug Abuse, and we are really happy to have him with us. I want to tell you a little bit first about the American School Health Association before we get started. The mission of the American School Health Association is to transform all schools into places where every student learns and thrives. And we envision healthy students who learn and achieve in safe and healthy environments, nurtured by caring adults functioning within coordinated school and community support systems. I want to let you know and cordially invite you to join us in Indianapolis for our 92nd Annual School Health Conference, which will be in Indianapolis, October 4th through the 6th. There is still time to register if you are interested. Registration closes on September 20th, so there's still time. So we hope to see you in Indianapolis. It should be a great time. Just a little bit about our organization and the benefits of membership. Some of you may be aware, we are the proud publishers of the Journal of School Health. That's our peer-reviewed journal, which we have available print and online. So as members, you receive a copy of our journal. I mentioned our conference. We have an annual conference and members receive a discounted rate. We have general sessions, oral sessions, poster presentations, wonderful exhibits, and plenty of time for networking, and we offer continuing education credits. We also try to stay in touch with our members through a couple of ways. One is the School Health Action, which is our bi-weekly newsletter. We also have our 4 networking communities that facilitate discussion and online support. We also, again, offer continuing education for not only our conference, but events such as this. And we also have a career center. So if you are interested in a school health position, please feel free to check that out. And if you have a position to offer, please check that out as well. So I want to take a moment to introduce today's presenter, Brian Marquis. Brian joined the National Institute on Drug Abuse Office of Science and Policy Communications in January of 2001. He's now the NIDA Public Liaison Officer and connects organizations across the country with NIDA resources. As the Public Liaison Officer, Mr. Marquis manages all marketing and partnership activities associated with the dissemination of NIDA's science-based research and information to a vast array of audiences, including federal, state, local, and non-governmental organizations, educators, public health professionals, and the public. In his efforts to promote NIDA's research and resources, he also manages more than 30 national partnerships for NIDA's National Drug Facts Week. His dedication to NIH and the federal taxpayer has earned him numerous awards, including the coveted healthfinder.gov Hammer Award for the National Partnership for Reinventing Government and the NIH Director's Award. Prior to joining NIDA, Mr. Marquis was the director of the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality Publications Clearinghouse and a federal communications contractor at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. He has a BS in Family Studies from the University of Maryland, College Park, and we are thrilled to have Brian with us today, and thank you so much. We will pass it on to you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Jeannie. Really appreciate the opportunity this afternoon. This is going to be a great session for me and hopefully for all of the attendees that are on the webinar this afternoon. So certainly appreciate the opportunity. It's been a number of years and that we've been working together collaboratively, all the promotion that American School Health Association has done. Certainly appreciate that. And without further ado, we will get started. And talk about shattering the myths about substance use during National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. So the first thing we're going to do is a poll, and so you can see on your screen what role do you play at your educational institution? Take a few seconds to respond. Excellent. Well, that's great. This really is in line with what our efforts in National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week tells us every year, in that you know, working with schools, health educators are really the audience that really takes all of NIDA's information to the schools and at all of the levels, because we do have educational resources for K through 12. And so it's health educators, whether they're in the school working for the State Departments of Education. Health educators are definitely the audience, so that's terrific to see. So to give you a brief overview of the webinar this afternoon, these are some of the things that we're going to go over: trends in drug and alcohol use among teens, the National Institute on Drug and Alcohol Facts Week ideas for these NDAFW activities, and questions and answers. And feel free to jump in really at any time so that I can answer your questions for you. So your efforts to engage students really matter, and so you know, social pressures continue to influence students to drink alcohol and use drugs. 1 in 3 students in 12th grade report past year use of e-vaporizers in 2017, raising concerns about the impact on their long-term health. And so this information comes from a survey that we do with around 50,000 students every year in 8th, 10th, and 12th graders, called Monitoring the Future. And we've been doing this with the University of Michigan Institute for Social Science Research for the past 30+ years. More than 70% of high school seniors do not view regular marijuana smoking as being harmful. Opioid misuse has become a nationwide crisis. And so when you take a look at some of these statistics, they really are alarming. You know, it's really about the perception, you know, especially about bullet number 3. More than 70% of high school seniors do not view regular marijuana smoking as being harmful. We think one of the reasons is that because it's legalized in states, and you know, we're seeing it more and more as far as the legalization goes. It's the perceived risk, and so if something's legal, then they don't think that it could mess with their brain, body, and you know, and their health and well-being. So we know that this is not true as the brain is developing to the age of 25 or so. So these are really important factors here. The past year e-vaporizer use. This is a new statistic, and and what teens are inhaling. So past year e-vaporizer use and what teens are inhaling. 8th graders 13.3%, 10th graders 23.9%, and 12th graders 27.8%. So the survey also asked students what they thought was in the e-vaporizer mist in the last time they smoked it. So that was also another very interesting question that we asked this year. Prescription and over-the-counter drugs versus illicit drugs. So the good news is past year misuse of Vicodin among 12th graders has dropped dramatically in the past 15 years, and that's depicted on the bar chart up there. And so it went from 9.6% in 2002 to 2% in 2017. So has misuse of all prescription opioids among 12th graders, despite high opioid overdose rates among adults. This chart is, along with many others, are on the NIDA website. And once again, it's coming from the data from the 2017 Monitoring the Future survey. Daily marijuana use has been mostly steady. From 2000 over the 10-year period, you can see from the chart that it is mostly steady among 8th, 10th, and 12th graders. 71% of high school seniors do not view regular marijuana smoking as being harmful, but 64.7% say they disapprove of regular marijuana smoking. And so this goes back to the whole, this goes back to the perception of use. So for those of you who don't know about the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA is part of the National Institutes of Health, and so NIDA is one of the 27 institutes and centers that make up the National Institutes of Health. As a federal agency, we're in charge of all biomedical issues, and so the NIH covers all areas, anything dealing with public health. So not just substance use, it could be cholesterol, high blood pressure, sleep disorders, diabetes, cancer. There's an institute for all of those conditions. So our primary mission is to advance the science on the causes and consequences of drug use and addiction and apply that knowledge to improve individual and public health. And so what we do is around the world doing research from neuroscience to medications to service delivery. So how do we achieve our mission? We support and conduct basic and clinical research on drug use, including nicotine, its social mechanism involved, ensure the effective translation, implementation, to improve and treatment of substance use disorders. And so how we do that is we take the science, it's broken down into lay terms, and then it's my job to work with communities all across the country to make sure they have the resources that they can use for their communities. We feel that we're the trusted source by providing this information, and certainly we're going to be talking about National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, but it's not just about the week, it's about providing this information day in and day out, year-round, about the science on drug misuse and addiction, including nicotine addiction, substance misuse prevention and treatment, as well as illicit drugs and their medical consequences, prescription drug misuse, the link between drug use and HIV/AIDS, as well as the annual Monitoring the Future survey. And this is just a sampling on the screen of some of the materials that we have and that we've developed, and certainly the materials that we have are online and can be downloaded, as well as we also have a clearinghouse of information that we send out materials from as well. So these are just some of the myths about drugs that are flying around. Prescription drugs are always safe because they're prescribed by doctors. Pot is not addictive. Drug addiction is a choice. And natural drugs are safer than synthetic ones. What can we do to change this? that's what we ask ourselves every day, and certainly this is why we have webinars and work with organizations such as the American School Health Association to collaboratively get this information out there to the audiences. So one of the things we're going to do now is we're going to do another poll question, and let me see how many people are familiar with National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Okay, so it looks like about 36% familiar with National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Okay, that's good. So then we're doing our job, and certainly we appreciate American School Health for getting the information out there, because you may have heard about National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week through the American School Health Association. So National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week shatters the myths about drugs and alcohol use. And this is our 9th year doing National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. And it's a national health observance designed to link students to science-based information, to shatter the myths about drugs and alcohol. And the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, which is our sister institute at NIH, became a partner in 2016. So alcohol was added as a topic area for NDAFW. NDAFW is a week-long health observance that we established in 2010 to help shatter the myths about drugs and drug misuse through community-based events and activities. This year, in 2019, I should say next year, this upcoming year, 2019, is January 22nd through the 27th of 2019. So please mark your calendar for that. And so it perfectly aligns with we're working with educators and school counselors, clinicians, as well as substance abuse prevention professionals and students on awareness events that will provide youth with the science-based information about drugs and alcohol. We're happy to say in 2018, more than 2,300 events worldwide. So we had events in every state, as well as around 15 or 17 international countries. And so this has grown tremendously over the past 9 years, in that it really takes up the bulk of my time, really working with these communities, and they are engaged throughout the year, and they keep coming back for not just the week, but really relying on us for the science for their particular efforts. So planning to get involved for NDAFW 2019. A couple different things. Major part of this effort is holding educational events. And so I'll talk a little bit about that, and leveraging social media to hold virtual events, as well as creating contests, scavenger hunts, and distributing NIDA-free materials. We have an array of resources on our website, including our step-by-step planning toolkits. We have toolkits really for many of the different illicit substances, including opioids and non-illicit substances, tobacco events, prescription drugs, things like that. And we have a new drug driving and synthetic toolkit that is up on our website. We just put it up there not too long ago. And these toolkits include statistics about substance misuse among youth and resources, including our IQ challenge, which we update every year. And this is sort of a quiz that can be customized for your particular group. So just as an example, and I'll go into this a little bit more in detail later on, if you're planning to have an event for National Drug Facts Week, and even if you're not planning to have an event, one of the things we can do is provide this quiz for your efforts and include your logo on there. So it's more customized in a sense that the students or whoever you're engaging with this information really can hone in and be personalized to your school. We have infographics on our site, as well as blogs and multimedia resources. It's really a wealth of information. And like I said, we fine-tuned this information over the years and really made it a one-stop shop for your efforts, and certainly encourage you to take a look at these resources. So how did National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week start? Well, before the actual week started, we came up with a national chat day. And so this is a great opportunity to get your students involved and participate in an online chat. It's a 10-hour chat on January 24th, and we have access to the scientists at the Institute, and not only our institute, but other federal agencies, including the FDA and NIDA, which is the Alcohol Institute, and a couple of others have asked to participate in this online chat. And certainly what we do is we register schools, approximately 130 of them, and then during this online chat, questions are coming into the scientists in a organized fashion, and the experts are providing responses to those questions in real time. So it's really a great opportunity, and it gives us a chance at the Institute to really take a look at what's on these kids' minds, any questions that can be, that we can ask. We filter these and put these into a transcript, which then is posted online. So this is really a great opportunity for us, and certainly encourage you to participate in this. And registration for this will open up in January, or not in January, in December of this year. So take a look at the website for the registration opening, and it fills up fairly quickly. So if this is something that you may be interested in, your plans, we certainly want you to do that. So 5 steps to hosting an NDFW activity are forming your team, planning your event, registering your event, securing the science, whether it's our information in hard copy or online. We have all the resources for you, and promoting your event, and certainly I can help with that as well. And I can talk a little bit about that further down the line as we move through the webinar. These are just some event ideas, and so all of this information, including past participation of event holders, are online. They go all the way back, and so some of the activities that we encourage you to utilize are the National IQ Challenge, and this is something that is updated, and certainly this is, like I mentioned, in the right-hand corner of that quiz. One of the things that we're able to do is customize that quiz with your, could be if it's a school logo, we could certainly do that. I could drop that in there, and that can be used. You could print it out. I want to shatter the myths, because this is a placard, and so what a lot of folks do is use this and they create video message. I want to shatter the myths because, and we post these videos online. as well as videos from our new NIDA drug driving toolkit. And so these are just some of the event ideas. Others are online as well, and definitely, you know, I'm here to be a resource for you as well for your planning. So these are just some of the events that have taken place in the past. The Orange County Drug-Free Coalition down in Florida hosted a youth prevention summit, and we've also worked with MAD, Mothers Against Drug Driving, the Florida Department of Health, and the Students Against Destructive Decisions. They also host a number of events. The poster that you see there in the middle that's Cayman Islands. So I was fortunate enough to be able to work with them, and they actually participate in Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. It's actually a month-long observance. So that's something that they take pride in every year, and certainly continue to participate. And we look forward to all of their great events. So we have free resources, and these free resources are all available online, and they can be ordered online. They are free. There's no shipping charges, anything like that. There are limits to the number of materials that you can order, but certainly now that we're having this webinar, and you'll have my contact information, rest assured you'll get whatever information and resources that you need, bypassing the order limit, so you won't have to worry about that. Our signature booklet, Drug Shatter, is a course we actually created this document for the of having it's used as a resource for students. You know, it's easy to go through. National Drug and Alcohol IQ Challenge, that's also available in Spanish. This is something that we used to do hard copies of. We don't send it out anymore, but it's certainly, there's a PDF online and can be downloaded, printed, and like I said, it can be customized. We also have a teaching packet, The Drugs in Your Body. It is a pretty teaching guide poster. This is something that we work with Scholastic on, and this is a tremendous resource that is used in classrooms, and actually one of our most orderable materials as far as a resource. And we also developed our Mind Matters. This is a series of publications that address each, I don't want to say each drug, but many different drugs. There's 8 different booklets, and these are newly updated, and we just received them in our warehouse for order. So they are online as well.
There's a question about Shatter the Myth, if you wouldn't mind just going through that booklet once more, a little more about what that's about.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So the Shatter the Myth booklet is actually our signature booklet, like I mentioned, and it goes through sort of, you know, shattering the myths about drugs, and it has information in there about prescription drugs, alcohol, things like that, and it's in a real general sense. It sort of hits home. It's up to date. We think that students will resonate with this document, and hopefully they'll use it a lot. You know, I think it's really a great piece. We also have this booklet in Spanish as well as most of the materials that we have. So the online resources that can be utilized are on our main website, our teens.drugabuse.gov website. And so this will be laid out in a way that, you know, all you would have to do is click the National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week tab, and you'll see all of these resources. including the toolkits, the downloadable stickers, icons, and t-shirt iron-ons. A lot of folks, what they do is they use these assets for their particular events. They blow them up, they get creative, they make posters, they send us photos and videos of them using these materials. This is really critical for the success of the program. And certainly, you know, it's these events that can be used for Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, as well as you know, throughout the year, are of particular interest to us as far as seeing how they're being used, so we can create more of these resources, whether in hard copy or online. So promoting NDFW. One of the things that we do is we provide language for teachers and administrators to send to parents, publicizing the campaign in school announcements, you know, posting flyers to raise awareness, as well as shattering the myth cards to launch a campaign. Social media is a very big part of NDFW, and you know, utilizing Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, social media really is the way that a lot of folks are participating. And it's interesting with the registration of the week and the events. What we're finding is that after the fact, when we do our reporting, that a lot of these events go unregistered, and some of them are fairly extensive events that these organizations, schools, and you know, schools are obviously great because it's a built-in audience. We want to know about this because this is really a collaborative effort, and so NDFW, you know, it's not what you guys are doing as educators and, you know, school administrators, what you're doing for us. It's really what we're doing collaboratively together. We want to make sure that we're highlighting your efforts and giving you credit where credit is due, because certainly with that being said, you're going to come back to us for questions that you may have in your particular programs or your schools, in your, you know, whatever health education efforts you're doing. So we want to make sure that we're highlighting and spotlighting your efforts on our website. So this is really a great resource, our tools for educators and counselors. We have lesson plans and activities based on the drug type, could be based on grade level, classroom subject. And so this is another great tool on our team site for educators and counselors.
All right, Brian. So we were hoping to share with you all some frequently asked questions. So as part of the NDFW planning team, we're always getting lots and lots of good questions from folks all over the country and around the world, you know, pertaining to hosting events and activities in their communities. And so we thought it might be helpful to share with our wonderful ASHA participants what some of these questions are. So I'm going to pick a couple, Brian, and if you don't mind, if you could run through some of the great answers that you give folks, perhaps that will inspire some other good question ideas or clarifying points on the answers that you give. So let's see, just to start, people are always curious about how they can get their local news to cover NDFW events. Any good tips or tricks for that?
Absolutely, and so this is one of the questions that we respond to all the time, you know, and a lot of times what happens is that this question comes up sort of at the 11th hour, and so this is a great time to really talk about this. And so there's many different calls to action throughout planning NDFW. And getting the local news to cover your event is always something that you want to do sort of early on in your planning, letting them know about this national health observance, because that's essentially what it is. And you will get the coverage, believe me. It'll be a local news story, it could be your local education channel, it could be your public television channel. These are ways that you really engage the local news, and certainly that's something that if you want television coverage, if you want traditional news like a news outlet to cover it, planning this up front and certainly sending any questions that you have to me as far as who you should contact in your local community. I'm actually a good resource for that as well, to contact. I mean, it could be your local elected officials. It could be your mayor. It could be your superintendent of schools for the county, things like that may want to do something for their bulletin, for their particular, their school system, things like that. So these are always great ways, and we post all of these things on our website under our What's New and Cool section. And we have everything from the get-go as far as all of these different great resources that, just by going that extra mile and seeking this type of news or ways that news outlets can cover your event, this is always a great way to really expand your reach and let others know what you're doing.
Okay, that's great, Brian. Thank you so much. And actually, in the process of answering that question, we have sort of a couple other inspired questions. One is, are there any good documentaries that you might recommend? So for folks who want to do like sort of share a movie and have kind of a question answer sort of discussion group, almost like a book club, but for movies sort of after. I know NIDA has a lot of good videos. Are there others that the Institute really likes or that you might recommend personally for that purpose?
NIDA has a lot of great videos online on our site. As far as actual like documentaries, things like that, that's a great question. I'm not sure that I can answer that question right now, just based on my history of documentaries. But there certainly are a lot of terrific resources. If it's not us that has the documentary, you may want to touch base with maybe go to the CDC or another federal agency that has documentaries that they suggest, as far as, and it also depends, I think, really on the content of what you're looking for, because really that's the key, I think, as far as documentaries or short films relating to substance use.
Great. Okay, sort of relating back to your previous question, how do we get into school systems to share info for folks that maybe are affiliated with the school system but want to host some sort of an event or an activity in their community but want to get the school system involved? How do you recommend going about doing that? So
one of the ways that you could do that is by working with the local PTA at the school. That's always a great way. They're always looking for dynamic topics that they can work with and sort of bring to the school, because we all know that substance use is rampant all over the place. And so parent-teacher, and this is all, it's a great way that to involve the parents as well as the teachers, sort of in a combined effort. So that would be my first step. The other would be maybe a local drug coalition would be another avenue if they work in schools. I know a lot of counties have prevention coalitions, things like that. They work directly in the schools. They work directly with the school systems. So that's another proactive way to bring this to the school.
Great. Okay, that's very helpful. So what about schools who have challenges participating just within that window of NDFW? So that this year it's January 22nd through the 27th, we know. But what if our school can't participate because of a snow day, or they've got, standardized testing going on, a school holiday, or some other competing priority? What if we want to be involved but we can't within that window of time? What do we do?
So one of the things that we found out over the years is that we're getting a lot of email from organizations and schools that may want to participate. And we had on our website a map where you could actually, or not a map, but a calendar where you could actually click the dates for the scheduled event for that particular day. But we were getting emails suggesting that we open it up to more than a week because it may or may not fit with their calendar. Could be state testing during that particular time. So we thought, why not? Let's open it up. We don't want to, the idea of it really is to provide this information to whoever can use it. And so by doing that, they can certainly plan their own week or plan their own event for National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Certainly the week itself is the 22nd to the 27th, but we want to also make sure that those that want to plan events are able to do that. And nonetheless, the information that they're providing to us is just as important during, not during Drug Facts Week, but also, really throughout the year. This is great for us because we're able to promote it with our e-newsletter. We have something called a resource roundup that we're always trying to highlight different organizations' efforts. And so this is our collaborative effort in making sure that everyone can participate when they want to.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian. That's really helpful. So one other question sort of related to elevating NDFW in our sort of community. Can we customize the material? So, National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week, that's a great brand, and we'd love to sort of raise awareness about it in our community, but also like my own school's sort of logo and information, or my organization's information might be sort of a powerful, thing to have on there as well to sort of promote. So is that possible? Can I do that, or?
Absolutely. So we have a couple of different resources. One in particular, our National Drug and Alcohol IQ Challenge, which can be customized with the logo. And I do this for many different organizations and schools, just to add that personal touch to their event. And so, yes, these materials can be customized. I have to double check to make sure what other materials we can customize, but I know for a fact the National Drug and Alcohol IQ Challenge is certainly a material that we're able to do that, provided I receive the logo.
Great. Okay, that's really exciting. And sort of similarly, is there anything NIDA or NDFW could do to help sort of promote our specific organization or what we're doing? Could you link to us? Can you share what we're doing on social media? Anything like that to kind of go full circle with the elevation of what we're trying to do here together?
Yeah, well, we have plenty of social media channels that we're able to promote. One of the ways to engage with us is to participate in our NIDA. We have a LinkedIn called the Drug and Alcohol Use Prevention Network, Drug and Alcohol Use Prevention Network on LinkedIn. And certainly this is a way to work with us and really to engage with others that are planning events around National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. So this is really a terrific opportunity to really dialogue with other event holders who may or may not have had events in the past, or who may be planning events for this upcoming year. But we do have social media channels. We have a blog and many other resources that certainly we're able to highlight and promote. This year we even are having a Wall of Champions that is going to be another great way to spotlight individuals' efforts for Drug and Alcohol Facts Week.
Great. Okay. All right. So so that's really helpful, Brian. I think we'll give sort of one more opportunity at the end if folks have other questions. But in terms of just sort of working together, I know you have sort of a couple other thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
and ways to stay involved and informed.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I think, you know, really the best way to stay engaged is really to subscribe to our newsletter. We have a resource roundup that goes out quarterly, and it may even go out more frequently as we're getting close to Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. But if not, rest assured it'll go out quarterly. And like I mentioned, our LinkedIn as well as our social media channels, including Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And so these are great ways that you can stay informed. And we do send out e-blasts with different calls to action during the week. You know, registration's open, order your materials by such and such a date so you can have them for your events, things like that. So these are all messages that we're sending out, and there's about 5 or 6 of those that can be had throughout the planning period from now through January. So we certainly hope that you accept the challenge and participate in National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week 2019. I will be here as your resource, rest assured, and I will help generate ideas, help you plan your event, and really get involved, you know, connect you with the appropriate parties in your area, whether it's the elected officials or local news media, or just ways, you know, brainstorm ways that you can work within your community, work within your school, or any questions that you have about Drug Facts Week. My name and email address is there on the screen, and please don't be shy about sending me an email. I'll make sure to get back to you as quickly as possible about the week itself or any other ways that I can help assist with your efforts throughout the year. So it's certainly been a pleasure for me to give the webinar this afternoon, and look forward to working with you all, and hope that you found the webinar engaging, and look forward to being a resource for you.
Thank you so much, Brian. This has been terrific information. And I think I'm getting some feedback. Sorry, folks. And I just want to pause for just a moment to see if anyone has any questions. So if you have any questions, please take a moment, type them in the chat box, and we will pick Brian's brain while we have him here. Well, I very much encourage all of you to think about planning for National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. This is great, timely information as it gives you an opportunity to engage those folks within your school as well as students to get some great synergy around this wonderful event. So thank you, Brian, for your wonderful presentation today, and I appreciate you making yourself available to assist folks. I want to let people know that we are having another webinar coming up on October 17th. It is about communicating the benefits of HPV immunization. So I hope that you will consider joining us. Just visit our website and register for that. Should be very wonderful information. I also want to remind you that continuing education is available for this webinar. So it's available for 1 hour. Members of ASHA receive free continuing education. Non-members, you may purchase it for $30 an hour, and it will be available through our online store. So in order to obtain a CE, you will receive an evaluation via email upon conclusion of the webinar. Give us a couple of days to get that together, and then you can go to our ASHA store and download that CE. One more reminder about our national conference that's coming up here in Indianapolis, October 4th through 6th. We hope that you will join us. We also hope that you'll join us for some future webinars, and reach out to us should you need us. There's our email, our phone number, and how to reach out to us via social media. So please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you so very much, Brian, for your wonderful information today. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I want to let you know also that this will be recorded and posted for you to refer back to later. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.